Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. What appears to be a two-fight plan for two-division current reigning welterweight champion Natasha Jonas. Her longtime trainer, Joe Gallagher, said, world champion Natasha Jonas working away ahead of her next fight, potentially versus Ivana Habazin, hopefully in December. Win this, and Bakole Mayer rematch is good to go.
Sounds good.
You've got to read between the lines, the language that Joe used.
Huh?
Potentially, hopefully. What that tells me is that the Ivana Habazin fight is not done yet, and December is fast approaching. I mean, most of October is gone. There's still all of November. Natasha Jonas and Bakole Mayer fought in January of this year. That essentially means that Natasha hasn't been up to much for most of 2024.
Natasha fights Bakole in January. Ivana Habazin becomes WBC champion in April.
Based on that sequence, they've had from April until now to finalize a fight with Ivana Habazin. I'm wondering what the holdup is and what is taking so long.
We know that there was some effort to do the rematch between Natasha and Bakole.
But I mean, that was months ago. Long enough that the Habazin fight should have been done by now, and based on the language that Joe is using, it doesn't sound like it is.
A near-perfect plan.
Fight Ivana, beat Ivana, then rematch Bakole. Now, even here and now, at Natasha's age, I think she's 40, I still think she can beat Ivana Habazin. I still think she can win that fight and collect another alphabet title. The problems begin when you try to move into a Mayer rematch, because Bakole made it clear she's not going back to the UK.
After she beats Sandy.
That's what she said. She's not going back to the United Kingdom. She spent 2 years fighting out there, and in her opinion, she got jobbed 2 times. More recently, in January of this year, in the Natasha Jonas fight.
So maybe this two-fight plan ain't so perfect.
Maybe you can get Ivana in the ring, and maybe you can beat her, but making that Mayer fight, Bakole might want Natasha to travel to America. The way she traveled to Liverpool, it's only right.
Think she'll do it?
That depends on Top Rank. That depends on whether or not Top Rank is willing to pay to play. Because Natasha Jonas ain't gonna travel on the cheap. It's the stuff you gotta think about. I think Bakole Mayer should have got the decision. I think Bakole Mayer should have won earlier this year.
And she has that in mind now. She's not going to leave herself at a disadvantage anymore.
She was at a disadvantage going to Liverpool as the challenger. She is a champion now.
So, you have to wonder, under what terms would Bakole and Natasha fight again, and where?
The United Kingdom? The United States? It matters. It definitely matters.
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, boxing in Wales, May the 11th, having my homecoming. However, it's been a bit frustrating as well, if I'm honest. Obviously, I've got titles now, and I thought the easy bit would be, once I become world champion, the fights will come. But it seems a bit harder. I'm putting it out there. I'll fight anyone at 147. I just won the biggest fights. I'm ready to go. I'm in camp now, and I'm waiting on fight news, but anyone who got a world title at 147, always a big fight for me. I'm happy to go.
You can't forget about Lauren Price in all of this. The other champion, one of the other champions at the weight. I'm not surprised.
Remember, if Natasha's fighting Ivana before this year is out, and it's her plan to fight Bakole afterwards, that freezes out Lauren.
What is Lauren intended to do if that is the sequence of fights for those 3 world champions.
This is why she should have went to Matchroom.
Call me a Matchroom shill as much as you like. If she would have went to Matchroom, she would have got the same promotional push that Sky Nicholson is getting. Do you think that Matchroom would have handled the career of Lauren Price the same as Boxer? Virtually no one is talking about her.
Nobody.
I don't know if she's even gonna have another fight. In what remains of this year, there's only November and December to work with.
If she does fight, doesn't look like it's gonna be a unification match.
So I remember when Katie Taylor won the WBA title against Ana E. Sanchez, it didn't take Matchroom long to get her an IBF title fight, a WBO title fight, then a subsequent WBC title fight. They moved on it.
Is that what Ben is doing? Is that what Boxer's doing for Lauren?
They're gonna treat her like a hot potato. They're gonna treat her like a hot potato because she's an Olympian, because she's a gold medalist, because she's lightning fast and has a lot of skills, but not a lot of marquee value. They're gonna bypass her.
They're gonna go around her. They're gonna fight each other.
And what Lauren Price is intended to do in the mean in-between time, your guess is as good as mine. Men's junior middleweight news, unification-seeking Bakram Murtazaliev praises real man Tim Tszyu. Bakram Murtazaliev described Tim Tszyu as a real man after watching him bravely and recklessly attempt to trade with him throughout the process of suffering 4 knockdowns and a defeat inside of 3 rounds. The Russian made the first defense of his IBF title and produced his finest performance to clinically stop the aggressive Tszyu, dropping him 3 times in the second round and once more in the third, before forcing the intervention of Igor Golubek,
Tszyu's uncle and trainer.
At the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida, Murtazaliev enhanced his reputation as much as he damaged the 29-year-old Tszyu. For all the champion's accuracy and power with his left hand, his Australian challenger will come to recognize his naivety in neglecting to defend himself and the fearlessness with which he fought from the opening bell. Murtazaliev, 31, regardless, admired the heart that Tszyu demonstrated on the most difficult night of his career. He also targeted unification contests with Terence Crawford, Sebastian Fundoria, or a high-profile showdown with Errol Spence Jr., none of which I think will come into fruition.
Nope.
Maybe he didn't recover well, so he didn't really quite understand what he was doing, Murtazaliev said, but he was so brave out there, fighting almost 4 rounds, and the referee gave him so many opportunities to fight, and after 4 rounds, he fought so brave. And I give him a lot of respect. He's a real man. At the end of the day, this is just a sport, and I had nothing personal against him. Before the fight, I guess he was promoting, and he was saying some stuff that was kind of bothering me, even though I didn't give him any reason for that. But after the fight, we just shook hands and had peace with one another, and he congratulated me and said, "Thank you for the fight. We didn't plan anything. If it had ended in the first round, it would have ended in the first round."
So it ended in the 4th.
So many are now saying that Tim Tszyu was never any good, that he was a hyped-up fighter, and he was just a hype job who didn't really beat anyone of note. That's what they're saying now, the Monday morning quarterbacks, but I wonder how many of them felt that way before the fight.
How many of them said so?
I despise these people, and I don't hide it. Have so much to say afterwards.
I hate them.
Filling the air with their nonsense after the fact? Useless. I overestimated Tim Tszyu's abilities. I've no shame in admitting that, and underestimated Bakram Murtazaliev's. Worse, I think that Tim Tszyu made the same mistake, except he's the one in the ring, he's the one that's got to take the lumps, and he took them.
It's one thing for the boxing fans to underestimate a guy. It's another for the boxers themselves to do it, and I do think he looked past Bakram Murtazaliev.
We didn't plan anything. If it had ended in the first round, it would have ended in the first round. In the third round, I did not expect anything. I was ready to go all 12 rounds. It was not that hard because it ended so early. I didn't get hit too much, but I was ready for 12 rounds. You could ask him that. The left hook was very powerful, and he didn't expect it. And when you don't expect it, it's double the impact. I was thinking in the first round, just to feel him out, just to feel his power, see how hard he hits. A lot of people are saying that you can see my shots and that I hit sloppy, but he was hitting like that too, so I could see everything. So I wanted to counter him. And he did. He couldn't miss Tim with the left hand. Asked for his plans, following a victory that will have done more for his reputation Then the night in April in Germany where he won the vacant title against Jack Colquet, he responded, "I'm just interested in unifying titles. I'll fight any champion. I'll fight a few champions and then we'll move up a division. My plan is to fight for more titles against Spence, Fundora, or Crawford, but if we cannot make it happen, then we will choose the best option for us, to give us more opportunities. People need to understand who trains me, Roman Kalantarian. If they only knew how he trains me, trust me, nobody would take the fight with me. People don't understand how much I suffer when I train with this guy."
Maybe they don't understand how much Bakram suffers, but I think they understand how much Tim suffered, and that'll be enough to get most of the people in this division to part around him.
Part around him like a river around a rock.
He may be a champion and he may have a belt, but he does not represent a great enough financial value that these guys are going to want to take a risk. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Upsets, very big ones, are a good reminder that as much as boxing is a business, it's also a sport, and anything can happen on the night. It can all look a certain way. In the build-up, I believe that Tim Tszyu was a 7-1 favorite with the bookies, widely favored to win. And look what happened.
It reminds people, this is still a sport.
When things don't go according to plan, like Anthony Joshua losing to Daniel Dubois, or Tim Tszyu losing to Bakram Murtazaliev. Now that the dust is settled and people have had more time to process what they saw, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people at 154 that are not going to want to roll the dice with this guy. Murtazaliev has improved considerably under Roman Kalantarian's guidance, and after he called his trainer over, Kalantarian said, "If we have enough time, we can be ready for anybody. This time we had all the opportunities to train right. I've been telling everybody it's going to happen. They didn't believe me. There's so much hype on the internet. People calling crazy stuff like, 'Who's this guy?' Now people know who this guy is and what he's capable of. So thank you for hyping up this fight. So big for him. We come, we saw, we conquered, and now we go home." That's what happens.
Jesus Christ.
I heard something about Erickson Lubin wanting a fight with Bakram Murtazaliev afterwards, as he shaded Tim Tszyu, questioning his abilities and his resume, yada yada yada. Erickson said he wants to challenge Bakram for the IBF, and it just so happens that via the IBF's ranked standings, Erickson Lubin is the highest ranked contender, so he may yet get his wish. So based on what we've seen from both combatants, now that we have a better idea of what Bakram is capable of, and what we've seen from Erickson Lubin so far,
Strong possibility that Bakram does to Erickson Lubin what Sebastian Fundora did to Erickson Lubin.
strong.
Because Erickson Lubin ain't shit. He ain't ever been shit, and he ain't ever gonna be shit. If that fight actually happens, and the rank standings as they are remain the same, it's only a matter of time before the IBF orders such a fight. And we'll see how bad Erickson wants it, or how bad he doesn't. We'll see, because I don't get the sense that Bakram is going to have much luck in that unification effort in the foreseeable future. I don't. It just seems like Terrence has his mind on other things besides unifying this division. Sebastian would rather fight Errol Spence Jr. than unify titles with anybody.
You know what time it is.
Finally, in men's heavyweight news, Bob Arum on Jared Anderson's loss to Martin Bakole.
I want everybody to know that it wasn't us. His Excellency Turkey LL Sheikh went right to the fighter and made this proposal for money that the fighter had never seen before, and picked as his opponent was Bakole, who is a tenacious puncher. He never fought a guy like that, so the fact that he got taken apart and knocked out was not surprising. Don't put it on my matchmakers. We were against that fight. When they wave money at these kids, they insist on taking it. We let that fight go ahead, and it was the stupidest fight that Jared Anderson could have taken.
Some are taking these comments from Bob Arum as evidence of a protection plan over there at Top Rank. That Top Rank is protecting their fighters.
Hey, stupid. If they were protecting their fighters, then they never would have let Jared take the fight.
Reading comprehension in America amongst the American boxing fans really is at an all-time low. You can't say that Jared Anderson was a protected fighter. What you can say was they were putting him through a vetting process. The same vetting process they put everybody through to see what the fighter is good at, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are.
He failed.
But to say that he was protected, maybe if he were a world champion, a reigning world champion, because, once you win a title, the training wheels have got to come off. But Jared Anderson was not a world champion. He didn't have a belt. In many ways, he was still a prospect.
I knew he would lose.
I said he would lose. Here on the channel, I ain't no Monday morning quarterback, I told you. I sold all my stock in Jared Anderson long before he fought Martin Bakole. You can't have faith in the American fighter the same way that you used to, and that's reality. That's why I had no faith in Jared Anderson.
No, today's American fighter is very talkative and very boisterous.
Very this and very that, but not very capable. And I've expressed those sentiments here on the channel more than once. A disgruntled fight fan that goes by the name Victor Burciaga said the fact of the matter is the best boxers and most champions are from the Americas.
Oh, really?
Facts.
Let's fact check that statement, shall we?
We already know that the American presence at the lower weights, like flyweight or flyweight, is almost non-existent. There are no American champions there.
None at 118.
None at 122. Two at 126, though 2 out of 4, that's hardly domination. 1 at 130. 2 at 135.
2 are American and 2 are Ukrainian.
1, just 1 at 140, just 1. 3, there are 3 at welterweight. There are 3 at 147. 2 at 154. None at 160. None at 168. None at 175. None at cruiser, none at heavy.
So what the hell's this guy talking about?
The past. He's talking about the past because he can't deal with the present, and he doesn't like what he sees in the future. That the American hold over boxing is loosening.
It's grip.
Jared Anderson is a prime example. So many wrote off Martin Bakole because they had never heard of him. They don't watch world boxing. They just watch whatever American lives closest to their house. They didn't see that ass kicking coming.
But I did.
You have to live in the past because you can't deal with the present. At present, the American boxer spends more time bickering on social media, bickering online, than actually fighting in the ring.
Why are you mad?
Because I said it? Because I pointed it out? You want me to lie?
Why are you mad?
Time and time again, I gotta tell you, the American boxing fan is the dumbest sports fan in all of organized sports. They will prop up these delusions of grandeur to aggrandize themselves indirectly. You must have heard the old saying that tough times breed tough people. And there was a time where America produced the roughest and the toughest boxers around, the best in the world. That time is past.
All you get now are a bunch of Mayweather wannabes with their flimsy Philly shells.
Business guys. The guys that tell you that boxing is a business so that they can avoid all the tough challenges.
Boxing is the business.
And if one of these American upstarts just so happens to actually take on a challenge, well, you see what happened to Wilder with Fury. You see what happened to Jared Anderson with Martin Bakole.
Boxing is the business.
M.O. Williams with Hamza Shiraz.
Think I'm making this stuff up?
I picked Hamza to win that fight, by the way. I picked Hamza to win that fight like I picked Martin to win the Anderson fight.
The inconvenient truth.
They just don't make American boxers like they used to. As they say, tough times breed tough people. Guess these times must not be all that tough because the boxers sure ain't.
I am not the content creator that is gonna kiss your ass and whisper sweet nothings in your ear for access. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
And the truth is, I knew Jared Anderson was gonna get his ass kicked because American boxers just ain't what they used to be.